next? I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. I'm inspired by thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did I know it hurts. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. I'm inspired by thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did I know it hurts. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want.
Hello, hi there everyone, good to be back. Sorry I've cancelled the last two lives for the last two nights, but I wasn't feeling on top of the world, to say the least. I wasn't ill, I just was so tired, right? My sleeping pattern had been knocked out of rhythm. It happens like that sometimes, even with the tablet that I have off the doctor. And it was getting to the point where I wasn't going to bed till 3 a.m. in the morning. And even then, my cats wouldn't let me sleep because they'd be going on a rampage around my house. So I'd get up again and then I'd go back to bed again. And it was just ridiculous. So last night I had firm talks with my two cats. Let me get some sleep, otherwise you're going out the feckin' window. I held them in my arms out the window. I said, you're going out that window if you don't let me get some sleep. And they just looked at me and go, whatever. Still went on their rampage for about half an hour. So I just hid my head under the duvet and let them get on with it. And then the one sitting at the door looking at me says, "Oh, you're in here tonight, Mum?" Yes, I'm back on my page. I'm back on my channel. Right, I've been wanting to do this ever since all this come out about the grooming gangs again. I really have. Because I think the truth needs to be put out there. As well as that, over the past 2 days where I haven't been sleeping, like been falling asleep during the day as well. In between not sleeping during the day, I have been going through these documents that I got from the Telford inquiry. And I noticed how they would bring this young girl up as a warning to the other young girls. You know Lucy Lowe? We know what happened to her, sort of thing. And that's what the hold they had over these young girls. So I've been looking at those records. And they was completely, and I'll tell you what it is, it's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, and the right foot doesn't know what the left foot is doing. You've got all these different organisations, right? They are all responsible as well for the welfare of children. But none of them are talking to each other. And that's a problem. And it's a problem when the police don't carry on, turns a blind eye to it. Which they did. And one part of the document I read today, it's like, we've got rid of the old grooming gangs in Telford, but you've got the up and coming younger grooming gangs coming back in. So they're literally taking over from where their fathers, the uncles or the brothers or whatever left it, and they're taking over it. They had a plan in place for the taxis because a lot of it was through taxi driving, where the taxi drivers would come and hoot their horn and the young girl would come out of the home because that's what she was told. When they come, you go. Right? And they did put in a plan where only licensed taxi drivers for Telford could work in Telford. Right? But guess what? Oh no, big uproar. That isn't fair. That's being racist. That's being whatever against the other taxi drivers from other companies outside of Telford. So they stopped it. They put it on a hold. They paused it while an inquiry went on into that. But while that went on, taxi drivers from all over the country were coming into Telford left, right, and fucking centre. Even in the report, it said that was a mistake they made by pausing that thing about that where they had only Telford drivers, taxi drivers, licensed taxi drivers. So, and it talks about how the taxi drivers would come and pick them up from school, and even come into the school and pick them up. So I want to ask my daughter because Birmingham's got a big mention as well, and that's where I grew up. It's where my daughter grew up and my son grew up. And I want to ask her, you know what I mean? Did you notice anything where young girls were getting, girls your age and younger maybe, or even at any age at school, coming out of school and getting into taxis? I just want to ask her that question, so I'm going to phone her tomorrow. Okay, because she works. I don't know what day she works and what hours she's on. She's normally home by 3 anyway because of picking her son up from school. So I'll have to phone her tomorrow. No, I can't. My son's here. What day is it tomorrow? Wednesday. I'll phone her Thursday. Because after she's done cleaning everything, she's busy getting her son bathed and ready for bed. So I don't like to phone her too late. I like to phone her about 4ish. I know then she's home with her son, with my grandson. And then she'll start doing him something to eat for dinner at about 5, 6 o'clock. Whenever he's hungry, that's when she'll start cooking his dinner. Unless she knows it's going to take a while to cook, then she'll start cooking it a bit earlier. Anyway, so we're looking at Lucy Lowe. Who was Lucy Lowe? Right, let's just get this sorted out. So that, oh God's sake. Down there. Just trying to find it again. Lucy Lowe was a young girl that lived in Telford. Right? She was 14. I'm not sure how, does it say how old she was when she died? Oh, 16. She was 16 when she died. And I'll read this bit. On the 5th of August 2000, 26-year-old taxi driver, right, Azir Ali Mahmood, started a fire at the Telford home of 16-year-old Lucy Lowe, with whom he had a sexual relationship since she was 14 and under the age of consent. The fire killed her and her unborn child, a 17-year-old disabled sister, Sarah, and a 49-year-old mother, Eileen Linda. Right, a 50-year-old father, George, survived. Mahmood escaped with Tasneem. That was the little girl, the baby she had. She had a little girl first. The pregnancy, when she died, when she was pregnant, when she died, that was her second pregnancy. Mahmood escaped with Tasneem, his baby daughter, by Lowe. In October 2001, Mahmood was sentenced to 3 life sentences from 3 murders, plus a 4th for the attempted murder of George Lowe. He was denied. How? This way, he was denied parole in 2020. You just killed 3 people, attempted to murder a 4th. Well, actually, you killed 4 because you killed your unborn child. But in the UK, I don't think they class that as anything. It's like in the US. In some states, if it's over a certain term in the pregnancy, they class it, and you can be charged with the murder of an unborn child. In some states, you can't. They don't class it as a child until it's born, until it took its first breath. And that's a bit like in the UK. They don't class it as a child until it took its first breath. Right? And so, legitimately, he could kill 5. Hold on, gotta get me coffee. So in my eyes, he killed 4 people. attempted to murder, the second one, attempted murder of the father, the grandfather. He was denied parole in 2020. He'd done 19 years and he was looking for parole. Jog on. I hope he never gets out. Never. He should get 30 years for every murder. Because we don't do life. Well, we do full life sentences, but you have to. Now, I think that deserved a full life sentence, to be honest with you. Anyway, the murder received attention for its possible connection to the Child Sexual Exploitation scandal, with an inquiry hearing that it was brought up by abusers to scare victims into silence. And it was. It was. Mahmood had started an illegal relationship with Lowe when he was 24 and she was 14. Now, a 14-year-old, you might think, what in hell is a 14-year-old seeing in a 24-year? It's an infatuation. It's, oh, I got a boyfriend. You know what they're like at 14? Yeah, it's an infatuation. And a year later, she was pregnant with their daughter. Once, when Lowe and Mahmood were in her bedroom, and she called for help as he was ahhing her. George Lowe broke the door down and chased Mahmood from the house, but neither he nor his wife reported the R to the police. The BBC reported this as an adult. Mahmood and Lowe's daughter, Tasnim, was told by her. Now, this is the daughter that she had removed. Now grown up, was told by her grandfather that he didn't take much interest in the illegal relationship at the time. I don't know what he means by that. Did he not think, oh, this is just an infatuation, it's not going to go anywhere? You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I know my husband was 11 years older than me, but I was 19 when I met him. I was old enough to make my own decisions, right? Because I was 19, he was 30. So, and to be honest with you, people will say he doesn't look that much older than you. He looked older than me, obviously, but not by 11 years. Now, if I was being 16 and he'd been 27, I think my mum and dad would have said something. Right? And I don't think you ought to be seeing this man. He's 11 years older. What is he seeing in a young girl like you? But you could have said that when I was 19. What's a 30-year-old seeing in a young girl like you? But that 3 years makes a difference, because you do grow up a lot once you leave school or you leave college and you get a job and you're paying your own way. You grow up a lot. According to Lucy Lowe's friends, Mahmood was jealous and possessive and believed that she was having sex with other men. Mahmood claimed that he was asleep in the house and was woken by a smoke alarm before leaping from a window to safety. Now, bearing in mind, he left from this, apparently, allegedly, he said he left from a window. He'd had his little girl in his arms, his little baby girl in his arms. Yeah, right. He was recorded on CCTV buying petrol at 3:28 a.m. and 11 minutes later was sighted by a neighbour who called the fire brigade. So he wasn't in bed, right? He put the petrol down, got his daughter, lit the fire, boom, walked out the house and down the road. Traces of petrol were found in the downstairs room and the fire trapped the 3 victims upstairs. In 2000, Telford had bad news in the deaths by hanging of 2 related black men, incidents which some relatives believe to be suicides as a result of racial threats or murders. I don't know. I'm not looking into that, so the father of one of the men dismissed that suggestion. Police said during the investigation they had no evidence or allegations that the Lowe fire was racially motivated. I don't think it was racially motivated. I think it was because of her father, maybe. I think it was because she didn't want to know him, maybe. Perhaps he'd split with him, told him, look, I've had enough, I'm not having no more, blah, blah, blah. Alright? So I don't think it was racially motivated. I think it was his way of controlling. If I can't have you, no one will. In blah, blah, hold on. Police, Mahmood, who was hospitalised with smoke inhalation, said, we were both ecstatic about the second pregnancy. We were going to get married, and I had been doing up a place for us all to move into. Yep. You wanted control of her, and perhaps she didn't want to move. Have you ever thought that? After the murders, George Lowe won custody of his granddaughter Tasni after a legal battle with her paternal family. She was raised by him and his elderly mother. Mahmood maintained his innocence, appealed his conviction in August 2002. He appealed again into 2014, claiming to be rehabilitated during his incarceration. His appeal was rejected, thank God. But the judges citing his lack of acknowledgement for his actions and that his minimum sentence would have to be 30 years and not 18 under new laws. So he's got to do 30 years before he can even get parole. I don't think he should have parole. He was found guilty of 3 murders. So that should be 30 years per murder. In March 2018, because if he got out after 30 years, that's like saying 10 years per murder. Because now we know where that saying goes. You know when you're married and you come to your 25th anniversary, yeah? Or even your 15th or your 20th, yeah? The men, your husband will go around and say, go about and say, you know, I could have been out on parole by now if I'd committed, like, you know what I mean? They've just gave 25 years of their life to one woman. And they're thinking, I could have been out of parole by now if I'd been put in prison. And we used to laugh and go, and I used to say, well, you know where the door is. I'm not stopping you. That was my answer all the time. Whenever we come out with anything like that. You know where the door is. I'm not stopping you. Just don't try getting back in. Anyway. In March 2018, the Sunday Mirror published an investigation concluding that the Telford Child Exploitation scandal was the worst ever such case, with an estimated 1,000 victims since the 1980s. The front page used an image of Lowe, and the report said that the murders were used to scare other victims into silence. If you read the reports, which I'm going to put up on my Discord, and when I do, I'll let you know. So if you want them, they will be redacted. I'll be putting one report up at a time because as I redact it, I'll put it up. Redact it, I'll put it up. But you can, if you hover over the redacted bit, it will tell you what the words are, right? It's just so that if I do ever use those reports on YouTube, I won't get cited for it. That's why I'm having to be careful what I say here with the words. The report surprised Lowe and Mahmood's daughter Tasmin, who knew of the age gap between her parents, but had never contemplated it being an exploitative relationship. George Lowe said that he should have been tougher on Mahmood and that he had been threatened by an anonymous telephone call for raising the suspicion of grooming. The Sunday Mirror also linked the death of a 13-year-old girl in a car crash to her experience of grooming, and the death of a 20-year-old woman from drugs as a result of being introduced to that lethal drug, CC, by abusers at the age of 12. Later in 2018, Tamsin Lowe made a 3-part documentary for BBC Three investigating the family's murders and any links to SE. During filming, the police handed over her mother's diaries, which had survived the fire. In them, she wrote about being taken to perform S acts on multiple older men. Tasnim Lowe demanded to know why her father was never prosecuted for S offences, despite her mother being under the age of consent when impregnated. West Mercia police declined to comment. That's the comment. As I'm reading, I'm only going through the first document, volume part 1, and that's what I'm getting at the moment. West Mercia police didn't want to know. Detective Chief Inspector Clive Harding, who investigated the murder when it happened, wrote in March 2018 that although she had a child with him under 16, they were together for years before he set the house alight. He was convicted of murder and there's nothing further to review. Nothing to do with the Operation Chalice. Now that's something else that's been brought up a lot, so I'm going to be looking into that as well when I can get the information on it. I keep hearing this Operation Chalice come up in these documents. I'm going to have a look into it. Clive Harding declined to testify to the 2022 inquiry into the exploitation and murders, saying that he would not be able to add anything that was not already written down. And another detective, Jeff Harding, gave a brief written disposition saying that he remembered nothing from his time working in child protection in both the police and Telford and Wrekin Council. Yes, of course. You can't remember nothing, can you? You got brain fog. The inquiry's leader, Tom Crowther, criticised both of the Hardings for their lack of contributions. Exactly. In June 2020, Mahmood was eligible for parole, which was denied, as well as his request to be transferred to an open prison. The same requests were rejected for the second time in 2022, as Mahmood was elevated as still posing a risk to the public. Yes. I haven't seen anything new come out on this. I don't know. But I will pull up something on these documents. Hold on. I'll have to see if I'll have to scroll down to find it, but I will pull it up. Mm-hmm. I'll load the pages first to go through. It was oh, I'm going to jump. Go to 90. Right, it was a letter because this inquiry was done and they requested a government inquiry. I'll find it anyway because it's a big piece, so I've marked it out. So, come on. It's like they didn't. It's like they've had to put in procedures for training, law enforcement, teachers, social workers, anyone that comes into contact with young children about the signs of child sexual exploitation, CSE. I'm thinking, what? It doesn't make sense, you know what I mean, when you read this. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. I wish I should have marked the page down when I knew when I'd be reading this because I didn't think I wasn't planning on reading this tonight. So I didn't mark the page down. It's highlighted in yellow and it's quite a lot of it in yellow. No. What does this one say? No. Right, here it is. Right. Hold on. Just go have a bit more coffee. In September 2016, during Prime Minister's question, Lucy Allen, right, now Lucy Allen was an MP for Telford, called for a government-led public inquiry after a blank victim told her that many of the worst offenders had not been prosecuted and still lived in the area. So then, Prime Minister Theresa May said in response, "My honourable friend has just shown the cross-party concern that there's an issue. There is on the issue of blank and child blank It is absolutely right, as she says, that we are able to look into the blank and crimes in the past. We will need to learn important lessons from that as to why institutions that were supposed to protect children failed to do so. So like teachers said they knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what. She said, because you know how children are all bubbly and they're chatting around, they're all bubbly, then as soon as you walk in, they go like mute. They don't say anything. They go very quiet. Being there, doing it, oosh, teachers, I can't say nothing, you know what I mean? And they go quiet. When something happens like that, then you think, okay, what's going on here? Right? It goes on. It is for the authorities in Telford to look specifically at how they wish to address those issues in Telford. But I am sure that my right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, has heard my honourable friend's comments and that she will want to take that up with her. So the Prime Minister has passed the book over to the Home Secretary. Right? It's a joke. And this was back in 2016. The following week, on 22nd of September 2016, a letter was sent by the leader of the council, Councillor Sean Davis, to Amber Rudd, the then Home Secretary, which said as follows: "We all welcome examination of the effectiveness of our services and remain absolutely committed to tackling the issues working alongside our national and local partners. We have had 3 inquiries into this issue in 2016 and understand that the independent inquiry into child blank, chaired by Professor Alex J. OBE, will assess the extent to which we have learned, lesson, implemented recommendations and put in place effective strategies to prevent blank in the future. The 3 reviews this year include Telford and Wrekin Council's Children's Services were reviewed by 7 independent upstate inspectors who were based at the council's Aldenbrook House headquarters for 4 weeks during June and July." Well, I've been reading that, Alex J. We've read it. And the only thing I get from now, nothing about grooming gangs. In all these reports, you're not having anything really about the grooming gangs, right? And I think this is the closest one, the Telford one comes closest to talking about such thing. And I think you've gone on, you've looked at historic abuse, which I think is right, should be looked at. You've looked at familiar abuse, which is abuse in the family. Yeah. You've looked at abuse in schools, private schools, and all that lot. Music schools, institutions, youth offenders, institutions, all that. You've looked at all of them. But you did not look into the grooming gangs. You didn't. So what people are saying now is like, we want a national inquiry, government-run led inquiry. Because when that happens, it means people can be called to the bench, they can be questioned, and if they are found to be at fault, they can be prosecuted. Yeah? Where these little inquiries, the J report and this one, they do nothing. They do nothing. Apart from give you word salad of how many pages? 250 pages on this one report. And this is only the first part of the report. You've got 3 other parts to it. Right? It's just word salad. You're just dancing around it without actually looking at the problem. And as I said, you've got all these different organisations. You've got the school, you've got the police, you've got doctors, you got police, schools, doctors, MPs. Oh God, social workers, all them. Yeah, not one of them communicated with each other. You need one focal person, organisation, one, right? And then all these other places like schools, doctors, and after-school clubs, and all that lot, they report, if they see anything, they report it to that one main stream, which is then put onto their computers, and it's there. Yeah? So anyone then in that organ who wants any information can log in and pull that information and see what it's saying or whatever. Yeah? Or they can pull the information out as quick as a click of a finger. Print it off and give it to them. But that isn't how it works. And to be honest with you, they all ignored the signs. They cannot sit there and tell me they didn't see the signs of CSE, Child Explanation. Oh God, exploitation, or Child A, or SA, like CA and SA, right? Sometimes they won't come to talk to you if they know though that it's gonna be reported to the police because they don't trust the police. Oh, and why is that? Why is that the people in the UK do not trust the police? And this is going back to 2016. I wonder why. And it hasn't got any better. I watched a video earlier, and it was something that was going on in Birmingham, right? A fight where someone was hitting this guy on the floor with like a baseball bat 9 times. And I put a comment, I said, I was born and bred in Birmingham. I saw it then. No go zones where the buses would go all the way round an area rather than go one road. They'd literally take the longest route around rather than go one road. And the only bus drivers that would do that route was certain minority groups, like Indian, Pakistani, Chinese, you name it. Yeah? If you went up there as a white bus driver, you got slaughtered. I have a friend whose husband works for the pickup of buses. You know, when a bus breaks down, they go along, they have a look, oh, we can't fix it here, we'll tow it. And they tow it away. Yeah? Well, he went out one night. The bus had been emptied because the bus driver had been waiting for him to turn up. By the time he got there, he was being pelted with bricks. He told the guy to get off the bus, just get off the bus, shut the door, get in my cab, we're off. And that's what they did. They drove off. They left the bus there. And the radio through saying, we can't do anything with that bus. We're being pelted with bricks and stones. And that was when I was younger. I remember when I was married to my husband, we'd go through several areas. There were several areas. And I'd go, lock the door. Why? Just lock the fucking doors. Hit the one button and all the doors lock. Not go round and hit back and front. Just hit that one button. I learned where that button was eventually. Right? And you go, why? I said, because this has got so many traffic lights down this one stretch of road. And every time we stop, we're going to get pelted. We're going to get spat at. You know what I mean? And I remember going to a little college there. I remember going to see my granddad who lived down there. I remember going to see my sister who lived round there, and it was lovely. But then as I got older and I got married, and you're seeing it deteriorate. You're seeing the no-goes area. Don't go there between this time and this time. Even in the daytime, you was looking, oh shit, am I safe to be here? You know what I mean? That was in the daytime. So when people say, oh, there's no, and someone said to me, there's no no-go zones in Birmingham. I went, really? Do you come from Birmingham? Well, no, but don't tell me there's no-go zones in Birmingham. Because when I lived there, there was. There might not be no more. I don't know because I don't live in Birmingham no more. But we could walk up the road. You know when you walk up the road and you're having a chat to your friend, yeah? And say there's a certain minority family who lived in a house and one of their people was out in the front garden, yeah? And you was talking and you just by up and say, oh, such and such, blah, blah, blah. They would take offence at that. And they'd have you, they'd report you, they'd scream from God Almighty, they'd let the whole bleeding neighbourhood know that you've just said something about them. No, I haven't. But they will take it as though you're saying it about them. And you haven't. You've just been talking in general. But because they overheard what you're saying, they took it personally. And I thought, there's no fucking freedom of speech here. And that was one. I wanted to move to Scotland years and years before I actually did. I really did. I wanted to move to Scotland when my kids were little babies. But my husband wouldn't do it. So, but that's how bad it was. And that was, when did I move up here? 2007. I moved up to Scotland. 2007. And we're talking, and this is in Telford, 2016. And the incidents that are going on in Birmingham now, today, within the last few weeks, it's not safe. I will put that out there. You are not safe out there. I'm not saying the whole minority of people are like that. There's small little groups. It's like having a bag apple in a bunch of apples. It's like that. And then you've got Sharia law. Now they say, oh, but they're not. It's not a law. They're not their own police. It's something to do with community. And we go, who are you trying to fob off here? I can tell you now, Alan Rock in Birmingham, Sharia law. I know that. Alan Rock, Sharia law. You live in Alan Rock, you fall under Sharia law. So not many people live in Alan Rock. Only a certain minority group live in Alan Rock now. But as I said, it used to be a lovely area. It really, really did. Small Heath. Oh, that was where my granddad lived. Small Heath. Lovely area. Not no more. I stopped going into the city centre by bus because of having to. Buses would have to go through these certain areas to get to the city centre. I started going by train. It was quicker. It was further to walk to the train station. Right, just a little bit further. But it was quicker. And I didn't have to worry about anyone. Like, I remember when I was sitting on the bus, we were coming back. And I can't remember who was with us. My kids were only a little young at the time. And we was coming back, and the bus stopped at the bus stop. And all of a sudden, I just see someone throw something. And I've just got my kids and literally threw my hand over my two kids. It was a flipping firework. That someone, stepped on the bus and thrown up the aisle of the bus. I literally just saw someone throw something and I just put my hand, knocked my two kids down. So they wouldn't get hit by any sparks or anything. Was there any police involved? No. No. So when people say, oh, like I know a friend I know up here, up in Scotland, she was going down to Birmingham for some concert or something. I went, really? You going there? Yeah. Okay. Why? And I said, I'll tell you two things. Do not get your purse out while walking along the streets. Do not get your purse out while walking, thinking, oh, I'll just get this out to get a drink. Wait till you get in the shop to get your purse out. And do not leave that shop until your purse is back in your bag. Do not get your mobile phone out to look for directions, because within seconds that mobile phone is gone. Right? I said, try and stay in a group, or you and your mother stay together. Do not go off on your own. Do not. So it's not that bad. I went, okay, fine. Don't believe me. I was only there for 40 odd years of my life, but don't believe me. Don't. She went there. She come back. She said, you know what, Ange? He was right. I went, thank you. When will people start believing me when I talk about Birmingham? Right? And it will happen up here. It will happen up here. If people let it happen. If people let it happen, it will happen up here. I know it's happening in Glasgow. I know there's grooming gangs in Glasgow. I don't think there's any in Birmingham, Dundee. I've not heard anything. I've tried looking up anything of Dundee. Nothing. But just because there's no reports, doesn't mean it isn't happening. And what's so upsetting as well is a lot of these people who've been sentenced or not sentenced have now finished their sentence, come out, and guess what work they're doing? Delivery guys for takeaways. Now, you say I was a survivor for one of the Rotherham group gangs, yeah, grooming gangs. I think, oh, I fancy, I don't know, I'll have a McDonald's, but I'll all doing, right? I'll go on take and have it delivered. You answer the door and guess who's standing there with your order? The guy who sexually abused you when you was 14 years old. How can that be allowed? You know what I mean? One girl said she's walking down the road and she came face to face with one of her groomers. She peed herself with fright. That's how scared she was. And this is a grown woman now. And that's how scared she was when she saw him. It doesn't make sense that these people are allowed to wander the streets, to do home deliveries, takeouts. Anyway, so that was just 2 letters where they passed the book on, but did feck all. Did nothing. The J report. We haven't finished going through all that, but I'm not going to finish going through all that because it's a load of...
was bullshit.
Exactly. Because not one of them have done anything to help. Right, I've got a short video. Is it one video or a couple? When it opens up. Yeah, I've got a couple, but they're not floating out. Right, we're going to listen to this one. This is only 2 minutes, 25 seconds. This is 9 months ago. Hold on. Let's pause this. Oh, what am I doing? I want that one. Is it raining? Right. Can I just say hello to all those on X that are here with me tonight and those on YouTube? Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you being here. Please like, share, and if you're on YouTube, subscribe. It costs you nothing. It just helps my channel. Right, where's that gone?
I literally cannot believe the things you're telling me.
No, that isn't the one I want. Where is it? Me. This one. Right. Finally, it's getting there. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Taxi driver Azhar Ali Mahmood started a fire at the Telford home of 16-year-old Lucy Lowe, with whom he had a sexual relationship since she was 14 years old, which is under the age of consent. The fire killed her and her unborn child, her 17-year-old disabled sister Sarah, and her 49-year-old mother Eileen Linda. Her 53-year-old father George survived, and Mahmood escaped with Tasnim, his baby daughter, by Lowe. Mahmood had started an illegal relationship with Lucy Lowe when he was 24 and she was just 14, and a year later she was pregnant with their daughter. One time when Lucy Lowe and Mahmood were in her bedroom, she called for help as he was awing her. George Lowe broke the door down and chased Mahmood from the house, but neither he nor his wife reported the hour to the police. The BBC reported that as an adult, Mahmood and Lowe's daughter Tasnim was told by her grandfather that he didn't take much interest in the illegal relationship at the time. According to Lucy Lowe's friends, Mahmood was jealous and possessive and believed that she was having sex with other men. Mahmood claimed that he was asleep in the house and was awoken by a smoke alarm before leaping from a window to safety. In fact, he was recorded on CCTV buying petrol at 3:28 a.m. and 11 minutes later was sighted by a neighbour who called the fire brigade. Traces of petrol were found in the downstairs rooms, and the fire trapped the 3 victims upstairs. In the year 2000, Telford had been in the news for the deaths by hanging of 2 related black men. Incidents which some relatives believe to have been suicides as a result of racist threats or murders. The father of one of the men dismissed that suggestion. Police said during the investigation that they had no evidence or allegations that the Lowe fire was racially motivated. Mahmood, who was hospitalised with smoke inhalation, said, "We were both ecstatic about the second pregnancy. We were going to get married and I have been doing up a place for us all to move into. In October 2001, Mahmood was sentenced to 3 life sentences for 3 murders, plus a 4th for the attempted murder of George Lowe. He was denied parole in June 2020.
Right, so oh no, I'll have to stop this because otherwise it's going to go to my next one. So that was just a rundown of what I've literally just read. Right? But I think the father, this was a bit of infatuation by his daughter. You know what I mean? This is going she's 14, you know, at 14-year-old. So like, 1 minute they're in love, next minute I hate you. You know what I mean? That's how you was when you was 14. You thought you had a boyfriend, you thought you'd be with them for life. Well, I'll tell you something, I had a boyfriend when I was 11, right? Up until I was 11 to 12. Come up to my round about 13. So we've been together a couple of years. Married. You know what? That literally lit a light bulb in my head. I went, and you're talking about marriage? Literally about a week or so later, me and this lad split up. All because of that one remark. I opened my eyes and thought, this isn't what I want. You know what I mean? If someone says to me, like, don't dare me because I'll do the dare. I'll do the opposite. I will dare you. Right? It's like when my mum said about me smoking and we was at a friend's house. And my mum's friend said, oh, I didn't know your daughter, Angela, smoked. Oh, she's only smoking what? Because she's here. Because we've come here. When we get home, she won't smoke. I got back home that Sunday evening, walked in the house, got my and that was the worst thing she could have said because she knew. So she shouldn't have said nothing. So it's a bit like when that friend said, oh, I can see you two getting married. I thought, what? What? I'm 13 and you're talking about marriage. Get out of here. Literally 2 weeks later, we split up. So that infatuation soon wore off. It took a long time for the infatuation to wear off, nearly 2 years. You know what I mean? But it went, boom, finished. And that's why I've always said, even my mum said to my husband at the time, you haven't learned, have you? You know what I mean? Don't push me because I will push back. And you don't want that. I need to share with you tonight.
The stuff you're saying it to our faces now, and I literally cannot.
Right, there is this one. It says, why grooming gangers target white girls as survivor stories. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. But I don't really want to look at that. What's this one? This is Lucy Lowe's story, police corruption in Telford.
This story, which is a gripping, corruption surrounding this case.
There's no pictures. I don't know why. I can hear his voice, but I can't hear.
Now, I hope within in this public inquiry that the person went on to firebomb her house, which killed her.
There is no picture for until it gets a bit further up, and then all of a sudden the pictures start coming on. But you should be able to hear this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've not started it from the beginning because it just goes over what I've already said. So
The baby was left safe by a tree, and the baby then went on to grow into a natural young lady called Tasnin. I know she's done a lot of videos as regards about her mum and what she knew and what she knows now. That's why this is such a gripping story to cover. But also, the perpetrator only got done for setting the fire and for murder. He has never been brought to justice for the sexual grooming of Lucy Lowe, or even fathering a child when
exactly. Remember what it said? How the daughter was given by the police the diaries of her mother, right, which survived the fire. And in there it said how she'd been trafficked to other and whatever, and had to have sex with other men or all that. They knew that from her diaries. So why wasn't he prosecuted for that?
Lucy was only 14 years old. He's never been done for any sexual crimes.
And he should be.
He's only ever been done for the murder of Lucy Lowe, her mum, and her two sisters, which is why I think this case is quite unique, because what you're about to hear, people, is police corruption at the highest level within the West Mercia Telford Police.
Yeah.
Just going to read a couple of extracts from this to you, and you'll recognise how unique, but how gripping, but how saddening that this case actually really is. Telford cop asked colleagues not to review child abuse case investigated by his dad. Now, this is a case that Superintendent Tom Harding told colleagues not to review a triple murder case that was investigated by his father, Clive Harding, as he said this case did not merit review. Now, why would any superintendent give an order to a colleague not to investigate a child grooming gang victim who was murdered by her perpetrator at the age of 16, in which her mum and sister had also died within the house fire? Now, Tom Harding should never have made it to a superintendent. Fact. And to say that the case did not merit a review, now that just shows you the highest level of corruption probably ever to be aired or to be seen. A top cop told colleagues not to review a triple murder case investigated by his detective dad. Now, the son was the superintendent, which is a high ranked officer within the police force, and his dad was a detective within the same police force. A top cop told colleagues not to review a triple murder case investigated by Detective Dad. Telford abuse victim Lucy Lowe, 16, died with sister Sarah, aged 17, and 49-year-old mum Eileen. who was known as Linda, in a blaze started by Cabby Azhar Ali Mahmood, 25, in 2000. Now, Mahmood was her abuser over a substantial time period when Lucy Lowe was aged just 13. Lucy met Mahmood when she was 13, and a year later had his daughter Tasnim, who survived the inferno after he placed her under a tree. The Sunday Mirror revealed in 2018 the deaths were linked to the explosion of hundreds of exploitation. The Sunday Mirror revealed in 2018 the deaths were linked to the exploitation of hundreds of Shropshire girls. A public inquiry sparked by our expose is set to report on Tuesday and will examine whether the authorities found Lucy. I think you can see quite clearly. I think you can see quite clearly that the authorities have found Lucy in such a massive way. Now, I hope in this public inquiry that all of this police corruption within all the exploitation of young girls in Telford all comes to light now, so it can be dealt with for the victims, so they can get some justice.
That's why we need a national inquiry led by the government. But you see, the reason they won't, and you've got that Jess Phillips going, oh, but my life's been turned upside down. I don't give a flying feck about your life. I do about these young girls that are now women, and still today, young girls being essayed by Pakistani men. Not all of them. As I said, you can't say it's all Pakistani men. You can't. But you see, the thing is, a lot of these girls, like, were being abused by their brothers as well. Right? So it's in the family. So you imagine now those brothers are growing up. They're still doing it to young girls. Because they've never, ever been prosecuted. Never. And this is why we need the national one. We need, like, they say, oh, they had, what was he? How many? I'll try and find a section. It'll be in yellow. That's something I want to watch. It's a program called it's called Three Girls. That's it. A drama series by BBC, which was aired in 1927. It's about the exploitation of her friends and herself. A story of that young girl and the S blank and exploitation of her friends. That I would like to see. But I don't put too much into these drama series because a lot of them can be, it's drama, it's dramatised. That's where they get drama from, because it's dramatised. They put in things that they might bump it up a bit more by saying certain things or whatever, or doing certain things. Right, so I don't take a lot into things like that, but I would like to see just to say, I've seen it. Oh, God. 5 men were convicted in 2012. That's in Rotherham. 5. And there's more than 5 that was arrested. I can tell you that much. More than 5 were arrested, but only 5 got sentenced. Like, some of the girls would go to the doctors for the morning after pill. That was never questioned. You've got a 13 or 14-year-old going to your local doctors for the morning after pill, but they don't question them. One was even reported to say that when she went, she was called, the doctor or something said, "Are you a lady of the night?" Now, a lot of this focuses on these gangs grooming them and using them as prostitutes, right? I have to be very careful. I could get, but I don't think I will, right? Now, they're not out on the streets, obviously, because the other women are going to say, "Hey, you shouldn't be here, young one. Get home to your bed." You know what I mean? So they was being held in houses. And in one house ran by one MP of Labour in, I think it was no, Oldham. In Oldham. That's the one who wants a national inquiry now, led by government, right? Had a sheet on the back of the door where each guy who come in would sign the name and the date, and at the end of the month they'd get a bill given to them for every time they went to that house. How sick is that? And these girls are being held there for weeks on end. And when the parents said anything, the police would rather arrest the parents than arrest the men. Like, I read in here, in this section, in one of these parts, where some police pulled over a car, and in there was these Pakistani men with a young girl or 2 young girls in the car with these Pakistani men. Right? As soon as they got pulled over and the police were talking to them, the one guy got on his phone to talk to one of the top police officers, one of the top ranking police officers. You know what happened? Oh, yeah. You know, young girl, you could get these men into a lot of trouble by being in this car. Putting the blame on the young girls. They did realise that they was being threatened. And if they didn't come out that night, their family would get threatened. Or, like, one girl went to the police station with this one woman to put the complaint in. And when she got there, she got a text, "We have your 11-year-old sister." One, how on earth did they know she'd gone to the police? So she's being followed. She's being tracked and followed. They got her 11-year-old sister. And then in this case, in Telford, they was holding that Lucy Lowe over their heads. Well, you know what happened to Lucy Lowe? Yeah, the house went up in flames. So will yours. So these girls was hiding this horrible secret from their parents. couldn't tell the parents what was going on because they're scared of what these men would do to their family. So they're suffering all this. They're going out when really they don't want to go out. They want to stay at home. They want to be in the room. They want to be safe. But they're getting this phone call saying, such and such, we'll be there in 5 minutes. Be ready. So 5 minutes later, they go out the house because they know if they didn't, the repercussions were so high. It was unbelievable. The threats made to them. One girl was took up to this place where it was totally blank. Nothing out there. It's just films. And when they go up there, they raped her, then beat her up and told her not to talk to the police. How did they know she'd been to the police? Again, inside job. Police inside are telling them what's going on. So you can understand why these girls will not report it to the police. Right? So when you got all these organisations that's like, oh, I will have to report this to the police. No. They don't want that. Get them, right? Hold on, I've just got to get me a little just out of my laptop. Right? The way I look at it, these girls will talk. If they want to prosecute, they will go to the police when they're ready. But only when they know they've got the backing of the police. They're not going to talk to the police when they know they are being followed, they're being tracked. They've got people on the inside working with them, telling them what's going on. Right? So go to these organisations like the Maggie Oliver Trust. They can arrange to get you medical help. Yeah? If you've just been raped the day before, they can get a medical exam done. They can have the photo evidence ready. They can have all that done for you without going through the police. And then, perhaps once they got the trust of these organisations, knowing that they are being listened to, they will go to the police. But they're not just going to go, I'm going to the police, I've had enough of this. Because they don't trust the police no more. They don't. I don't. When it comes down to anything like say it was something between me and a certain minority person, I wouldn't trust the police because I know they're going to back that minority person and I'm going to be the one being locked up. So if I'm going to get locked up, I'm going to put that minority person 6 foot under. At least then they've got a reason to lock me up. Because this is the way the police have handled this. And even now, and even after reading this, and I've only got through, I think I got through to about, I don't know, quite a distance down. Right? They wasn't supported properly either when they did go to court. They didn't want to take have evidence heard from other people and what they knew. They had, I think it was in the Rotherham or was it the Oldham? I think it was Oldham. Only one person was allowed to go in and give a witness testimony. One. And she needed to go to the toilet. And you know what they said to her? Oh, you haven't got time for that. We haven't got time to wait around for you to go to the toilet. Right? And now, what's that other girl's name? Oh, God. I've got her on X. Let's see if I can find them. She was from a grooming gang. I've got to find you first, see if I can find you. Sammy Woodhouse. Right. So, uh, because a lot of these women as well, right, who've been groomed, who've been hard, atrocious acts done to these young girls, atrocious, what they went through. And they weren't listened to, they weren't believed. Right, some have killed themselves through it. Some injured themselves that bad where one young survivor said she lost a limb. She lost a limb through it, through self-harming. Right. That's it. Just put one up here. Don't forget that boys are also groomed. They are. Abused, hard, tortured, trafficked, criminally exploited. Now, criminally exploited, she was saying in an interview the other day, right? This person who groomed her took her on bank robberies, learned her to drive at the age of 14, would take her on bank robberies and things like that. Then he'd go, well, you can't go to the police now because if you do, you're going to incriminate yourself. She said, by going to the police, yeah, to report this grooming and all this stuff, she was looking at doing 100-odd years in prison. 100 years in prison. And she was prepared to do it, but they didn't go through with that. They kind of like dropped that side of it to concentrate so that they get her to talk just about the grooming side. So that was never looked at. But that's how they do it criminally exploit them. They groom them so bad, they learn them to drive, they learn them to do, they get them to do the drug runs, and all that lot. Hide weapons for them. So that if they get caught with it, it's them and not the grooming gangs. It's them who go down, not them, not the others. She's fighting against the right of these people who have groomed young girls and got them pregnant. She's fighting against the right of them seeing their children, because she had a child through her groomer. She got pregnant. She had a child. Right, it says here, while rapists in the UK are still allowed to apply for contact or custody of children born from R. They shouldn't be. I know she's working out for. She's doing documentaries for 2CTV. And what did it say here? The documentary will be. Let's read this. Yeah. Will be featured on 2CTV. But to see, you've got to sign up to this other program that it does, which is mainly can't be touched by the government or anyone. So they can put a lot of this explosive stuff out there. So let's just see what she says. This
the failures, and I'm not going to go into it. Evening, everyone. I've just got back to the hotel room as I've been filming for my new documentary today that I'm filming, and it's been a very, very emotional day. There's been lots of tears today, including for myself. It's an absolutely heartbreaking and devastating story, and I feel so angry as well because of the failures. And I'm not going to go into any details because I want you to hear the story directly from the people that have lived it. And even though I've been through a lot of things as well, it's their story to tell. So I will keep you updated of dates on things when this is going to be released. But what's also really frustrating is that nobody in the media wanted to touch this story. And it's not just this story. There's, many stories, unfortunately, like this.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why the family contacted me in the first place. So what's really important is that, we as a people, as a public, is that we support families and, help them tell their stories when the mainstream media don't want to. So
exactly. Where are the mainstream media? Right? Where are they? Have you seen anything on? I don't watch mainstream news. I don't. Because it's all full of. Exactly. Right? So I don't watch mainstream media. I don't read mainstream media. Newspapers, nothing. Because they only print what they want you to know. They only air on TV what they want you to know. Right? And they've not spoke about this. They've not done any programs on this. Nothing. So where are the mainstream media? Ask yourself that. Then you hear people say, "Oh, I didn't hear about that." So many times, years and years ago, I stopped watching mainstream media, reading mainstream media about what. I used to read it in the newspapers when I was a community care worker, and I used to read mainly for the sports, because a lot of the old men I used to go to, we talk about football or something, so that I knew what they was talking about, right? So it was when I finished that, so that would got to be when 15, 20, 15. Yeah, 2019. 2018, 2019, I left community care. Right, so after that, I stopped buying mainstream media newspapers. I stopped. And then I started watching YouTube on my TV about what? 2.5 years ago. And I don't watch any other programs. It's either YouTube, Netflix, or if my grandkids are here, or my daughter, then we watch the Disney channel, which I pay for. So if anyone wants to come and say, "Oh, but you can't because you haven't got a TV license," I say, "Oh, but I can because I pay for that. I pay for Disney Channel. I pay for Netflix. I pay for YouTube. I pay for YouTube extra so that I don't have to watch all the stupid adverts." Right? Because there's nothing more in Ireland when you're watching something like this, a documentary like this, or something else of importance, and all of a sudden, oh, for fuck's sake. Yes, if you're on YouTube, you can skip it after like 3 or 4 seconds. It's just annoying because in those 3 or 4 seconds, if that person was live, you've missed 3 or 4 seconds of what they've just said. So, I pay for everything I watch. I bought my TV. I don't owe anyone anything. Right? I am thinking of cancelling my Prime TV, Prime Video, because I don't use that no more. So tomorrow I think I'll look into go online and cancel that. Because I used to use it for all the old drama programs like Frost and all that. But now they're telling me I've got to pay to watch that. No! I'm not paying Prime Video, plus I'm to pay to watch the programs that I like to watch. No, it's not happening, so I'm cancelling that. I haven't used it now for what, 6 months or more? Maybe a year. I watch Netflix. So where are the mainstream media? Ask yourself that.
Yeah, it's been a difficult day, but of course, such an important story to tell. And the family are amazing. You know, I get on really well with the family as well. So we are back filming again tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a very difficult and emotional day for us all as well. But yeah, I will keep you all updated, and I shall see you all soon.
I think at the end of the month when I get paid again, I think I might subscribe to my TV Plus. Just so that I can watch this documentary she did. And it's not the only one she's doing for me, she's doing others, you know what I mean? I even pay for my X account. Right. Trying to see if there's any other videos. But I showed you one the other week on my TV. The media one. The YouTube channel one. And she kept it short because you couldn't see it, but when I watched it on you could see her face getting redder and redder because she's getting so angry. So, yes. So you got Sammy Woodhouse. Award-winning documentary out the shadows born from Raz. Best-selling author, just a child. Oh, do you know she was the author of that? Activist exposed exploitation and government corruption. But the government won't act because they're too weak. They're too scared. They want that minority group. You look at all the places where I'm looking at setting up a map to point. Hold on, let's see if I can get something now. Let's map of Labour. Just help if you will spell. Right. Oh, God. Still can't spell right. Right, let's have a look. And I can assure you, the majority of these Labour Hound seats are where a lot of this grooming is going on. Now, Labour is red, as you know, right? So let's have a look. I know you're going up into Scotland there. Yeah, you're going up into Scotland then. Northumbria. Northumberland. Yep. Carlisle. Oh, Oldham. Labour run. Rochdale. Labour run. Bolton. Where's the other ones? Where's Telford? Birmingham. Labour run. Telford. Telford search constituencies. Telford. Oh, look at that. It's a Labour seat. Right? Labour seat. Rotherham. Hold on. Got to share it. Looking at a map of Labour Hound seats, right, where we know of grooming gangs, right? Rotherham. Like Telford, Labour Hound. Oh, look at that. Rotherham. Now, she got up the other day, you know, when that MP from Reform got up and gave that great speech. Remember what I showed you the last time I was on a live? And she got up afterwards stating how saddened she was about him saying what he did. Hold on, you're a Labour MP of Rotherham, where over 1,000 young girls were viciously attacked, hard, trafficked. You don't even want to go into the sexual side of it because it's disgusting. It's vile. And these young girls are, and you, Labour seat, right? Then we got Rochdale, isn't it? Is that, oh, look again, it's Labour again. Labour Hound again. Right? Oldham. We'll go for East. Labour again. Labour again, because there was 2 seats in Oldham. There's Oldham East and Saddleworth, and Oldham West, Chadderton and Royton. This is Oldham West. This is Oldham East. Both Labour. Where else? Oh yeah, let's have a look at Birmingham. My hometown. Right, we've got quite a lot here. So we'll go to Birmingham Edgbaston first. Labour. Birmingham Edmonton. Oh, look, Labour. Birmingham Hall Green and Moseley. Oh, look again, Labour. Birmingham Hodge Hill. Dear me, Labour again. Birmingham Ladywood. Labour again. Northfield, Birmingham. Labour again. Birmingham Perry Bar. Oh, it's an independent. Okay. Let's have a look at the last two. Birmingham Selly Oak. Labour. Now, this is where the next one is from where I was born and bred. Birmingham Yardley. Oh my God, my MP would have been Jess Phillips. So she won't do anything because her majority was only, she just got in by 693 seats. You know what I mean? But feck, I'm glad I don't live in Birmingham no more. Because I'd be knocking her head off her block. I bet she don't live in Yardley. I bet you she does not live in Yardley. I bet you she lives somewhere like, oh, let's think. Let's have a look at the map. Got Birmingham Penny Bar. She's gonna live somewhere like Sutton Coldfield, which is blue, which is Conservative. She's gonna be living at Solihull, Meriden Way. Oh, whatever. But Wolverhampton, Labour. And I can assure you there's probably grooming going there. Dudley, I can assure you there's possibly grooming going there. Hales Owen, possible grooming. You know what I mean? All these places that you hear of grooming going on, you punch in Labour held map. Right? That's what I punched in. And it'll bring up a map like this. And it'll show you. Coventry, no, is also known for its whatever. Right? Coventry North, Labour. Coventry South, Labour. Where else? Oxford was one place as well mentioned. So we've got Oxford East. Oh my God, would you believe it? It's a Labour run. Oh my Lord. Oh, Oxford West and Abington is a Liberal Democrat. Someone saw sense at least by not voting in Labour there. But Oxford East, you've got a Labour run. And Oxford has been brought up as well for the grooming gangs. I'd like to know what part of Oxford, Oxford East or Oxford West. Let's just see if I can pull that up. What area of Oxford is let's see if I can get anything. A former senior investigating officer, Simon Morton, warns that guys we couldn't catch are still out there. And that's from Oxford. You got in the Telford report, they wanted that report done. I'll try and find it again. But all the areas you look at for grooming gangs are all Labour hound. And you go against a minority group. Okay, I say minority because there are only a small percentage of people who live in them towns. But there are a hell of a lot of them. Right? They all vote Labour. You go against them, they're not going to vote for you. You start locking them up, they're not going to vote for you. Right? You start deporting them, they're not going to vote for you. So they'll lose their votes. Labour can't have that because that's how they got in the first place as well. I think if people I think people was misled by voting for Labour. They thought they was going to get the old Labour, the one that worked for the working class people, and they did, and we haven't. We've got the Labour that works for the minority groups, and I say minority groups are run hound for Labour. Right, now this guy said they're still out there because they didn't prosecute them all. A former police officer who led a grooming investigation in Oxford has said a similar type of SA is still happening, warning that the guys we couldn't catch are still out there. Simon Morton, former senior investigating officer for Thames Valley Police, told the BBC that perpetrators in the area are operating in plain sight and are influencing and arranging others to do the same thing. He added that it is obvious grooming is happening in every city around the country, a claim supported by another police source. His comments come as a Tory amendment to the government's Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill, which would have forced national inquiry into grooming gangs, was voted down on Wednesday evening. The government has already said it will opt the recommendation made in 2022 by the Independent Inquiry into Child SA, that's the ICSA, which I'm working on at the moment. Right? Mr. Morton led Operation Bullfinch, then the biggest criminal investigation into Oxford's history, which resulted in the convictions of 21 men for offences spanning the late 1990s to the late 2000s. He said calls for a new public inquiry are pointless and would be a waste of money. We've done the public inquiry. Every single investigation has been thoroughly reinvestigated and checked. We've had 7 years' worth of Professor J and her team looking at CSE and made the recommendation. But let's get it going. Don't waste your money on more pointless inquiries, he added. That is a view echoed by Child SA survivor, who cannot be named, who said the focus in recent days has been misplaced with much of the debate surrounding whether there should be a public inquiry rather than on what can be done to help victims. Well, why can't they do both? Why can't they do both? Why can't they implement the recommendations put forward by the J report, the 20-odd recommendations put forward by the J report, and do a national public inquiry into because The J report looked at, like, as I said, it looked at abuse in the home, abuse in schools, public and private, abuse in after-school clubs like music groups and things like that, abuse in churches, abuse wherever. It didn't look at the grooming gangs. It didn't. Yvette, Home Secretary Yvette Cooper announced those who cover up or fail to report child SA could face. Well, that's what we want, a national public inquiry, because you've got police who fail to act. You've got MPs who are covering. We had one Labour member just the other day or the other week caught by one of these groups that go around catching these vile people who are enticing young girls and boys to meet up with them. He got caught red-handed. He's not a Labour MP no more, but he's still a voice for Labour. He got caught. Right? But that will be... Don't do it again now, Mr. Whatever. Go away. Be a good boy now. He claims perpetrators have been driven underground by the recent publicity about abuse, but are still active. Victims want action, Child CI inquiry chair says. Yes, they want action, but they also want these perpetrators, as he said, they're still out there. They're still out there in Oxford. They're still out there in Telford. They're still out there in Rochdale and Rotherham and Birmingham. They want every one of them prosecuted, kicked out the country. Our children, our women are not safe on the streets while they are here, while they are on the streets. They're not. Anyone done with knife crime, minimum sentence, 20 years. Anything to do with children, minimum sentence, 30 years. Anyone who unalives a child, lifetime. She automatically life. Right? Start giving out harder sentences for all these criminals, all these violent people on our streets. And I'll tell you, you see a lot of people think, I don't think I'll take my knife out with me tonight because I could end up in prison for 20 years. Are you going to take the chance on that? That you're not going to get caught? So many CCTV cameras around now, people with the phones, home security video, street cameras. You're going to get caught. So if they brought in stronger minimum sentences, not minimum sentence 2 years or minimum sentence for 5 years. No, minimum sentence for any knife crime. If it's just a sentence of being caught with a knife, right? Being caught with a knife but not being used. But you want to hope to God there's nothing on that knife that comes back to another murder. Because you might think you cleaned that knife. But believe me, blood gets in the smallest of little areas. Are you sure there's only one unaliving you done with that knife? So, it's like guns. They trace guns back to different murders. They can do that with knives. If they want to. But you know what, our police don't want that, do they? They want to just give them all these naughty boys out there going around slashing people, bashing people over heads with baseball bats and cutting limbs off left, right and feckin' centre. don't do it again. You know what I mean? Don't be a naughty boy and do it again. You know what I mean? This is just ridiculous. Stop handing out proper sentences. If you're caught with a knife, sentence, say you haven't used it and you've got a knife on you, let's say minimum 5 years before you can come up for parole. And that's just having a knife on you. If that knife is found to have been used on anyone, say they come back and find some blood trace to someone else who was unalived by a knife, then you're looking at minimum 20 years. But they won't do that. These perpetrators who are out there assaulting our young girls and boys, they're not going to go for them like that. It annoys me so mad. Reforms recommended after a serious case review were all adopted by the Thames Valley Police. The statement added, and the way it deals with Child SE, so CSE, cases is notably different now compared to during the Operation Bullfinch period. The force said group-based offending makes up just over 5% of CSE offences in the Thames Valley, which is said was in line with national rates. 5% is in line with national rates. There should be no line. There should be no child exploitation. Stop it. A child is being abused. A child is harmed. A child is beaten. If they are under 16, stop it. Right? Once they hit 16, it's a bit harder. Unless they are prepared to, unless that child, that person is prepared to come forward and give testimony. They can't really do anything because they are of age. But if that child comes forward and says, he's abused me, he's harmed me, he's trafficked me, he's this, he's that, right? He's beaten me up, right? He's locked me in houses with different men coming and going for weeks at a time. Then they can do something, and then they should do something. But if you're under 16, don't wait for them to give you permission. Just do it. Go out and catch them perpetrators and lock them filthy, vile people in the darkest cell you can find. And then when they've done their 30 years, bring them out, pop them on a plane and take them back to Pakistan. And if Pakistan don't want them, stop all money going to Pakistan. Stop it. Stop any help, any donation, any money being given to that country. Stop it. Because we're paying for your criminals over here and we're also paying for you to do feck all over there. No, stop it. This gets me so mad. I'm sorry, but when you read, like I've been reading, these reports, and I will put them on my, I'll try and get the first one finished tonight. Because I feel tired, but I know I'm not tired, if you know what I mean. So I'll try and get that one finished tonight so I can upload it onto my, what's the name? And then tomorrow night I'll put the link, I'll put it in with the description then. If I get it finished tonight, I'll put it in with the description tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I want to look at the Rotherham case, okay? So that we can get a good idea of what went on there, and how the police turned a blind eye to everything. Accused the girls of being in the wrong and not the men. So tomorrow night we're going to be looking at Rotherham. And we're going to look at each place, not all in one night, but one night will be Rotherham, another night will be Rochdale, another night will be Birmingham, my favourite town, not. Another night will be Oxford. Right? We're going to look at all these places, all these towns, all these cities where grooming is being known to be going on. Because this needs to be highlighted, it needs to be put out there for everyone to see. Right? Perhaps then the police can't turn a blind eye to it. It can't be, oh, you know what kids are like. Boys are boys and girls are girls. No. No. They're under 16, they cannot consent. If they're being took out on robberies or being told to do drug deals, they can't. It's their way of being controlled by these gangs. If they don't do it, they get beaten so badly or they'll get hard, thrown into a room with several men. They are given drugs. They're giving the white powder, the cracky powder, the whatever they give it to these young girls so they come compliant to what they want. They can't fight back. So tomorrow we're looking at is it Rotherham? Or is it Rochdale? I can't remember. It's either Rochdale or Rotherham I'm looking at tomorrow night. So I'm going to leave it there because it's gone 2 hours. Just gone 2 hours. And I think you've heard enough of my voice going on and me getting angry. So tomorrow we will be either Rochdale or Rotherham. One of them two we're looking at tomorrow. Hang on, I'll tell you now what one we'll be looking at. Rotherham. Tomorrow night is Rotherham. Okay? So if you want to be kept up to date with all these cases, subscribe to me. If you're on X, subscribe to my channel because I go live. Every time I go live on YouTube, I go live on X. So subscribe to my channel on X. Show me some love on X. Leave me a comment. What do you think? Do you think the police failed them? Do you think it was just the police that failed these young girls? Do you think there's a cover-up going on now with the government? Do you think Conservatives are jumping on the bandwagon? I think they are. They had 14 years to do something and they did sod all. Even when the recommendations from the J report come out, they didn't do none of those recommendations. They had 2 years. 2 years to do something and they did nothing. So now they're saying, oh, we want a national inquiry, government-led inquiry. She didn't do nothing for 14 years and this has been going on since, what, 2002, 2003? Well, no, it's been going on since the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. That's how long this has been going on for. And now you decide, after being in government for 14 years. And don't forget, I think it was Samantha Woodhouse, said that at the time her abuse happened, Labour was in then. Right, so she don't trust Labour. Because they was in then when it happened to her. So you can't trust Labour, you can't trust Conservatives. We don't know about reform because we only hear about them. We've not actually seen them in action because they've not actually got into government and put anything into place. It'd be nice to see them in government. Just to see if he would do that by calling the Navy head commander the sea lion or whatever they call them, and tell them you turn them boats back. Be nice to see him do that, being as that's what he's saying he's going to do, if and when he gets in. Don't just tell us what we want to hear, Nigel. We want the truth. We want them boats stopped. We want all these filthy, vile creatures in our prisons that have been abusing our young girls put on a plane and out of here. We want all those others caught, put on a plane, out of here. You know what? We probably wouldn't mind if there's a tax hike, if it was going to things like that. But when governments are putting our taxes up, our insurance up, and all this up, and we see nothing for it, that's when we get mad. So put our taxes up when you're getting reform. If it means you're putting these people on fucking planes and boats and shipping them out and flying them out, whatever, get them out of our country. Stop all immigration, legal as well, until we sort this problem out. Once we've sorted it out, then we can open up the legal immigration again. And only then do we start accepting people back into our country who can actually give our country something back. Instead of standing there on the highways and preaching, they hate all English people. You're being racist towards us. You're this and you're that. But if you don't like us, the door's there. You know where you can go. I'm not stopping you. If I had the money, I'd give you the ticket to fly home. I'd even book it for you. So, like I said, all the areas that you look at where grooming gangs are mentioned are all Labour held. They need those minority groups to stay in control. They lose those minority groups, they'll lose the seat. And what I say to anyone, we've got 4 years before we can vote again. And when that time comes, you get off your backsides, you cycle, you walk, whatever, but you go and sign that box. You put the cross in that box, not for Labour, not for Conservatives who are a bunch of hypocrites. For Reform UK. I would say UKIP, but at the moment our best thing is Reform because they have got 5 MPs in there at the moment. So we need to keep those 5 MPs plus add more. And this is why Labour are stopping all these little internal voting things going on. Because they know that if they carry on with the like every area, they have areas, I think, and they come up for re-election, yeah? Those members are up for re-election, but all these Labour rules, they stopped all these new re-elections coming through, yeah? Because they know that if the vote goes through, Reform are going to win the seats. And when the time comes through in 4 years' time, Reform are going to have a lot more seats. And they are running scared now, so keep them running. Keep Labour running. Let them run all the way to China to make their crap deals. To try and put the begging bowl out there for money to come into our country. You're put that fault now. You're at fault. So sort it out. Without getting us into even more debt. Without hiking up the taxes on national insurance. Sort it out. And sort these gangs out. We want a national public government run inquiry where people can get prosecuted, police can be called to the docks to be sworn on to give evidence. There can be questions about what they did know, what they didn't do, why they didn't do it, everything. You'll see heads roll. You'll see people lose jobs if that happened. You really would. Anyway, I'm going to leave you. enough of me babbling on. My throat's getting a bit sore as well. Even though I've got my coffee by the side of me. So, I'm going to leave it there and say thank you to those on X for being here. As I said, if you're not already subscribed to my X channel, please can you click on it? Costs you nothing. Right? If you'd like, join my YouTube channel. Because sometimes I do have problems on the rare occasion that it might happen that I might not be able to get on X to go live. Just come and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. That way you'll never miss it. You'll either get me on X or you get me on YouTube. Doesn't cost you anything for either. So until tomorrow, where we are looking at other cases, I will bid you good night and stay safe.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. I'm inspired by thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. But something deep inside won't let me